Okay, Recons video on Thursday, the 9th of June 2022. It's just gone 4:17 p.m. Chicago time. Do hope you had a good day's trading. So, in the weekend video, I said watch out this week. We are looking for resistance in the daily chart to come in. It's going to be a pullback in a downtrend level, and I thought it might come in Monday into Tuesday's activity, but no, we had to wait for Wednesday into Thursday's activity, and we had a nasty little sell-off the last third of the day. But it's all because we ran out of steam on the upside. And the first 3 or 4 charts I'm going to show you is how trending moves in lower time frames are equivalent to cyclical moves in higher time frames. And the reason why we had the sell-off this afternoon is because all of the trending activity had worked itself out on the way up on the lower charts, and they all kind of maxed out with the cyclical resistance on the daily chart. But anyway, so here's better sine wave on the daily chart here of the E-mini. This is just looking at the day session only, so at es.d on TradeStation, and there we go. Resistance on the daily chart kind of comes in. We knew it was due because we had crosses here on the thin lines on better sine wave. This is the plate of spaghetti that is calculating the cyclical activity in 3 different time frames, and we've been at a downtrend for a couple of weeks here. That's why the bars are white, and we need to work the trending activity out on the way down. So we're testing down into the lows. This has got to go pull back to end of trend, and these lines have got to come to the other side to minus 100 cross, and that's when we're going to be looking for a bounce. But we're in this testing phase right now that's going to last a couple of days, and we'll see where we go on those lows. But resistance on the daily chart, it's pullback in a downtrend, but it's cyclical resistance here. Back it down 1 time frame to the 135-minute chart, and there are 3 135-minute bars in a day session of the E-mini, and you can see here that's the pullback in a downtrend on the intermediate time frame here. So it's the lowest time frame on the daily chart. Go down a time frame, it becomes the intermediate time frame on the 135-minute chart, and we had a beautiful little pullback to end of trend on the lowest time frame here, syncing up. So this little retracement move, all that trending energy had worked itself out with a pullback to end of trend, and that was syncing up with cyclical resistance on the way down here, and that's why we had that nasty sell-off in the afternoon. Back it down another time frame to the 45-minute chart here, and you can see all of this kind of coming together. So there's that pullback in a downtrend on the daily chart, ends up being the highest time frame on the 45-minute chart. There's the nice little pullback to end of trend that we saw here on the lowest time frame on the 135-minute chart, becomes the intermediate time frame on the 45-minute chart, and then on the lowest time frame on the 45-minute chart we had a beautiful little pullback to end of trend. This is the left shoulder, this is the head of this move. Cyclical resistance kind of comes in, we start to drop away, and then going back down another time frame to the 15-minute chart, and that's again 3 15-minute bars in a 45-minute chart. Bang, here we go. So on this time frame, pullback to end of trend on the highest time frame, we'd had pullback to end of trend on the intermediate time frame, and pullback to end of trend on the lowest time frame here. So on this move, this is our left shoulder, this is our head of the move, and this is our right shoulder. You know, even though classical technical analysis would say, look, the left shoulder has to be below the head has to be higher than the left shoulder, and the right shoulder has to be below, you know, the head. Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't think you can say, you know, topping out moves head and shoulders. The beauty of better sine wave is that it identifies that head and shoulder moves, whether the left shoulder is above or below the head and so on. It's like, because the trending activity worked itself out here, we tested back into those highs, and a final test here, pull back to end of trend. We've worked out all of our trending activity on the way up, and so we're exhausted up here, and it's syncing up with cyclical resistance on the higher time frames, the 45, 135, and the daily chart, and all of that activity ends up here at 41.64, and that's where we've dropped off. So what we're looking for is a similar type activity on the way down. We're going to test into those lows, and we've got to put in all of the work to put in pullback to end of trends, starting with the lowest time frames all the way up to the highest time frames, to work out that energy on the downside. I must admit, today's chart's pretty much picture perfect, but you would be surprised how often you see these patterns just rippling through the time frames, just, you know, coming up beautifully like that. So there we go. We got to go test the lows and see where this goes on the E-mini.